Hello everyone, welcome back. It is Wednesday, it is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It is snowing in Chicago, it is cold as it's cold. Hey Andrew, how are you?
Well, I'm doing all right. I'm trying to stay warm today, and I feel like we're probably going to say that for another, couple of months here. I will say it is not as cold as yesterday. Oh my goodness, was it cold?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we have more to complain about with it being, minus 30 wind chill, or the folks that actually had snow on the beach. I don't know that I have too much sympathy for them, but I do feel bad.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to business.
Absolutely.
What's been going on for the last 7 days, not 7 days?
So, something that I saw that is hot off the presses today is a script from Ben Whitmore around Intune reporting. I noticed that Ben teased it a couple of days ago on social media, and then just released it earlier today. So basically has a script here that will actually hit the Microsoft Graph API and pull down Intune reports for you. I've worked with some of the reporting endpoints in the past, and they're if you have a little bit of familiarity with uh, uh, how to manipulate JSON and work with a REST API, I would say they're pretty decent in my experience. But having something like this is going to make it a lot easier. Um, Another really big quality of life improvement that I think this script is going to give us, that I noticed Ben added here, is the scheduling. So you can actually schedule this script to run reports on a regular basis and download them in whatever format you want. So using the reporting APIs in Graph, it's always going to send JSON. But Ben's script will allow you to save them as CSV, as JSON, and do that scheduling for you. So, fortunately enough, I actually got this working just before we started here, and
Well in time.
Exactly, and I only say actually got this working. The way that Ben has put out the help on this script is very straightforward. It's just just in time demo, I guess. So, anyways, that's neither here nor there. Basically, I have downloaded this script from Ben's GitHub here. Come on, LinkedIn. I know what I clicked on. um, uh, so basically, there are a few requirements here. We need to make sure that we already have the Microsoft Graph SDK installed. We need to have PowerShell, which I think most of us will have on our Windows OS already. We need to have an app registration that has the correct permissions on it. So there's several reports you can see once we pull this up here, which permissions are going to be required for these. And of course, internet connectivity here. So there's some logging and everything. I'll let you read through this if you want to use this script. But basically, download this script. Go ahead and call it. I give it a save path, as you can see here. I also give it my tenant ID and my client ID. So in my case, my client ID is just a regular enterprise application that I'm using here that has a whole bunch of permissions on it. Go ahead and run the script. We'll be presented with the options for all of the reports that we can run with this script. So you can see, just call out a couple of examples here: device compliance, report of devices. We have some endpoint security reports here that can be very useful, especially for those scheduled tasks, I think, where we're seeing firewall status, if we have any malware on our endpoints, that sort of thing. We also have a couple of Windows updates reports as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose one of them. I'll choose an easy one that doesn't have any filters. That's the all apps list. Let's go ahead and choose that report. We'll see that it will connect. And then it's going to start to hit that reporting endpoint. So again, some nice logging here. We can actually see exactly what's going on in this script. So we'll give it just a moment here. And then it starts to download that report. It tells us exactly where it's saved out. And if we go over to that directory here, so this is the Intune scripts directory that I specified there. I can go ahead and click on this latest CSV file. And sure enough, there I have a report of all of my applications that are currently in my tenant. We see the name of the application, any notes on it, a lot of Patch My PC applications showing up here in my reporting, and any other information about the applications. So it's not just Win32 apps that I have in here. We can see my macOS applications that I have, what type of applications I have in here. Some really nice stuff. Here's our Win32 apps. Here's our WinGet or Windows Store apps. We have an Office suite that's in here. I don't typically use this, but it is in my tenant. So that's just one example of the many reports that are showing up in the script. So kudos, as usual, to Ben for putting this together. This is fantastic stuff. Something that I'll likely get going here as a scheduled task in my own environments, just to have this reporting going on. We can see trends and changes over time if we need to. Very useful stuff. Another thing I came across here was a post from Ugur Cook on using custom attributes with macOS in Intune. So he has a couple of scripts here that we can use to update things like what does our AppleCare warranty status look like on a macOS device? What does our Microsoft Auto Update application look like if we have our Office suite installed on macOS? So some really nice scripts here, I think. He's got a couple of other ones that have been in this repo for a little while. The last time the device was rebooted, local admin report, that sort of thing. But another useful set of scripts for our toolbox if we're managing macOS devices, I think. I've got two more things, but the last tool that I have for today, I think I missed some of it looked like there was some announcements starting back in December. So I haven't had too much time to play around with this yet. But I noticed that Recast released their right-click tools that have been around for, gosh, what, Johan, 10 years at least now at this point?
I mean, I was using right-click tools back in SMS 2000, maybe not 2003, but at least CMO 7. So yeah, good 10 years plus for sure.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. So we're all fairly familiar with the tools, and I noticed that that they released right-click tools for Intune version. Again, haven't played around with it too much yet, but if we have anyone else out there that has used them, would definitely be interested in hearing some feedback. In the very, very short amount of time that I did play around with them, it was simply installing the right-click tools community version and a browser extension to work with Intune. And I saw some of the tools available there, but haven't messed around with the functionality too much. Still, nevertheless, exciting to see these tools show up for Intune as well. Tools that have been so popular on the ConfigMgr side for such a long time.
So it sounds like a bit of homework for you until next week, so you can show how they actually work when you have the extension installed.
I think so. I think that is a reasonable ask. I'll put that on the list. Last but not least, not new for us at least, but a reminder if you haven't seen the announcement yet. The last couple of years, Microsoft has done an online event called the Technical Takeoff. Primarily, that's usually surrounding little technologies within Windows, Intune, Entra. I shouldn't say little technologies, but sort of small sessions about technologies related to Windows, Intune, Entra, and a lot of the systems that we work with as Microsoft systems managers. Great event the last couple of years. This year's is scheduled for March 3rd through 6th. Definitely recommend attending this, viewing the videos online. Typically, they also have a sort of online Q&A that's also going on in this page. So just wanted to put a reminder out there for that event. And that was what I had on my list for this afternoon.
All right. I have a few things. The first one is, I think, timely connected to the scripts from Ben Whitmore. We have our friends over at Youngling in the Cloud, meaning Nikolai and Matthias, and with guests, Trevor Joseph. No, was it Trevor? Was it Peter? One of the two. Let me see if I can find that link. I'm going to share my screen here, or steal the screen.
All right.
Not that one, but this one here. A 20-minute video on, basically working with feature update reporting. So highly recommend watching that one. Good one to learn about reporting. So that was one of the news. Let's see, did I lose Andrew? Is he still lurking around? I wonder what happened. What can possibly go wrong in a live stream, as they say? I seem to have internet connection still. Andrew just texted me. He just disconnected momentarily. He'll be back, but that's all right. He can have a few minutes or break here. We did showcase also, and this is just a friendly reminder, we have the Nordic Virtual Summit coming up, a free community event 2 weeks from now. Even though it's very early for folks based in the US, highly recommend attending it. The sessions are not recorded, so you have to be there live to see them, but well worth the time. Great sessions coming up on that one. I also spent some time writing a blog post for a fellow MVP. He was asking me for just a high-level overview on how to upgrade the operating systems of a ConfigMgr site server using backup and restore. In general, that particular method is a favorite of both Andrew and I, because it always gives you that clean and pristine setup of a server. But I just wanted to point out that it is indeed supported of doing in-place upgrades. I just had much better success with the backup and restore option. So I put together a little, step-by-step guide on how to do that. So if you're interested, it's up there. If you have any comments, feedback, by all means, let me know, and I'll be happy to update the post. We also announced a new community course on the Academy. These are our about monthly free courses that we create here, but this is about moving on from the MDT integration in ConfigMgr, basically migrate away from it to PowerShell equivalent and other solutions. So on February 20, we will spend an hour and a half, Andrew and I, going through what options to have there. And basically, these are Microsoft recommendations to move away from the ConfigMgr templates that have that MDT integration. You can still reuse some of the scripts, etc., but we will go through all of that on February 20. So that was that. All right, see if Andrew is back here. And there he is. Yay.
Hey there. Yeah, I'm not sure. Twice I've seen a little disconnecting. It's just a brief thing that drops me off, but it's automatically reconnected. So we'll just keep an eye out.
Maybe you have mice in the basement chewing on the cables.
If not a mouse, I do hear a small human. Who knows? Maybe maybe they're messing
Cats,
around
perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but that was all I had in terms of news. We did have a question coming in while you were away. First, hello, Saeed. Good to see you again. The question was regarding, please share a script to repair the ConfigMgr client through Intune and one for bulk device importing. I do not have a full repair script. What I do have a script is that basically nukes the client from orbit. That one we have available here on our GitHub, or one of our GitHub repositories. But you would have to combine that with one that actually installs the script also, or installs the client also. But at least this is a start on how you can completely get rid of a client.
I must say, if that's your goal, is to get rid of it, the script works very well.
Very, very thorough.
Yeah.
Another question, or a second part of that question, was bulk device importing. I'm assuming that meant for ConfigMgr, because we don't really have that concept in Intune. So in ConfigMgr, if I cancel this one out, when you go to devices and go through the import compute information, you can either specify a single machine or you can specify file, a CSV file with the information. And that you can do in PowerShell also. So if you either have a list of computers, like I have here, different lab hosts, it needs to be formatted this way. You need to have a few columns with the name and the MAC address that you want to import from. And then you can just run a PowerShell script like this one here, where you specify the import file in question and then load the PowerShell module or import the PowerShell module, and then run the import computer information. And you select it with the file name import file option here. And in this case, I have headings on it, so make sure to include that one. But that's all you need to do to get that CSV file imported. And then, as we showed you guys last week, no, it was one of my ConfigMgr videos. I did this. Here is another option where, in this case, I have a list, a fairly large list of Hyper-V hosts and Hyper-V machines. I think this list has 396 of them. I can just loop through that list. I have that here. And for each of those items in that list, it will call this one. But now I'm just specifying a single machine at a time. But either this one actually goes through pretty quickly. It is a little bit faster to import an entire list, but this, we are talking about maybe a 10-second difference. And since this is automated, I don't really care if it's takes a few seconds longer. So these scripts are shared up on our GitHub repository. I will go to these links here so I remember to snatch them later. But the ConfigMgr videos were here, and this was episode 5. That was the mass deployment build script. I recently did a bug fix for that one because I realized that I was a little bit over optimistic assigning MAC addresses. One of the columns ended up with a 3-digit octet. And last time I checked, MAC addresses should have 2 of them in between each
That
column.
sounds right.
Sounds about right, yeah. So that's where you find that script. And then wonder if I have the other script available somewhere. Not entirely sure. But I know a guy. That script copying over, not here, but I might have it. We'll see when I paste it in if it's the same. No, I did not have it. All right, but now I will. So now that script is available as well. So have fun and try them out.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he had a follow-up. Bulk device import is under the group in Intune. So I think referring to the bulk actions for an Entra group, you can import members. Very similar. You can do that through a CSV. I was just trying to find if I don't have a PowerShell script handy to do that, but I would be surprised if there wasn't one that exists. So I was just trying to find one real quick, unless you happen to have something.
Not for that one, no. Just let me click that other script so I have it in my history when we're sharing these links out later. Perfect.
Imports, let's see here. My screen for. Yeah. I don't have the. I don't. I do have just the doc that.
All right, I'll bring your screen up. And I think Mr. Andrew froze, or I froze.
Am I here? I don't know what's going on. I checked, and there's nothing at least being reported as wrong with my network, but clearly something is.
It says reconnecting.
More homework for me tonight.
Unexpected homework, yeah.
Yes. All right. So yeah, this is what Sahid's referring to right here. Is in Entra you can go to a group, and then under bulk operations there's an import method. There's a CSV template that you can download and then populate it, similar to how you were just showing, Johan, if you wanted to import devices into ConfigMgr. I haven't had too much luck finding something of a PowerShell version over here, but I'm sure there's something. I will happily add that as well to my rapidly growing homework list. But that's okay. These are good. These are good ones here. Minus network troubleshooting. All right, so. Group.
Found a lot of bulk delete scripts, primarily for Autopilot, but not imports.
Okay.
And I found the script completely in Spanish that I don't quite understood what it was either. Well, a bit of homework then.
Yep. I think at least finding that's probably going to be an add MG group or MG user or something like that, PowerShell commandlet. But I'll track down some details. That should be pretty straightforward.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Of course.
All right, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, just a little excitement here from Glenn and Jamie around the MDT mini course. That's exciting. Or the journey away from MDT, I should say.
Yeah. No, it's sad that's going away, but we have to adapt.
Indeed. I know. I remember when I first started in this area of the game, reading you've heard this story many times, but reading your blog posts around building reference images with MDT every time a new version of Windows came out, and I started to learn ConfigMgr first, and then kind of found some of the cool things you could do with MDT, and I was like, dang, this is pretty awesome. Why isn't this built in?
Exactly. No, I mean, it added several hundred if you counted the code snippets or functions, features on top of OSD. So luckily there are ways. I was working with one customer just last week. They had been using the UDI wizard before, and they wanted a summary in the end. So I spent some time with the TS background from Johan and also wrote some PowerShell scripts to replace that front end instead. So we'll showcase that in the course also.
Very cool. Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out here from a friend of ours, Jim O'Neill. Hey, Jim, thanks for joining us.
Happy Wednesday indeed. Yep.
Yes, it is. Hopefully, Jim's a little further north than us. I hope you're staying warm up there as well. So Tim's got a question here. Good topic. Has the Windows Autopilot service been more stable since Microsoft made improvements in 2024?
I'll say so. And if not, it's much, much faster than it ever was before.
Yeah.
We see that when we do demos all the time. We used to have to basically prepare slide content in between import and other things just to be able to have a somewhat good flow in presentations. But now it's been just a few minutes, what could easily take 20 minutes before. So looking good, or better, I should say.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I mean, knock on wood, we haven't really seen any of the, large outages or major outages, I should say, that we saw a couple of years ago. I know, Johan, a story I've heard from you many times is working with a customer down in Australia.
Yeah, that was no fun.
No, not at all. Days, if I remember correctly, that Autopilot was out.
Yep, pretty much.
But yeah, have not seen as much of that, thankfully.
Yep. That's
hopefully we're not jinxing it, talking about it right now.
No.
All right. Jamie's got a question here around the ADK. Do you think the ADK will go away? Microsoft is seeming to be slow with updating the WinPE version in December 2024, leaving the May version of Windows PE. And just mention your blog post on it.
Well, I can bring up the blog post and then answer the question there. So was this one here. So the changes that were done in the December release was not regarding the media itself. So the WinPE WIM file, they are down to the core. I did a basically file hash comparison. They're the same. The installers and some of the scripts around it, they have changed. But to the question of Microsoft removing 80K, no, I don't think so. Every deployment solution on the planet, except I guess Tanium, is using WinPE and these components to do imaging. And some of these tools are even part of Windows, like DISM. They come in both Windows and the 80K. I do not see them going away at any time, if ever. We had some sort of this for since Windows Vista, and that was close to 20 years ago. Windows
Yeah.
Ike, as it was called back then, but no, I do not see this going away. What I would like to see is a bit of better quality, better testing, and to actually fix bugs when bugs are being reported, not just re-release it with a new installer. The same stuff would be helpful. So, yeah.
Seems like a reasonable ask. You would think.
I mean, it was so funny because I remember them doing that change back in, was it 17 or 9? I forgot which version they started to split them out. There used to be one package for everything.
Mhm.
The reason I did that, so we can update them separately. Yeah, but you never did. So
Yeah. Is there a single time that you can think of that we got one and not the other?
no.
No, I can't either.
I mean, there have been some bug fixes in CUs that you had to apply to a boot image and whatnot, but yeah, nothing else.
Yeah, interesting. All right.
Good stuff.
I see a follow up from Sahid here, just referencing, so back to the group, talking about adding members to a group, not the device. I think I understand. So you have a device or many devices in Entra, and you want to add them to an Entra group programmatically. Hope I'm understanding that correctly.
Well, that should be an easier search for.
Because if it's importing, like on the...
One.
Oh, you might? Okay. Perfect.
I had to do that at some point. Let's see if I can find something.
Yeah, probably like a get MG device filter on the name where you can get the device ID, and then a new MG group member, I think, will be the commandlet.
Looking through my repositories here. I have a few of them, unfortunately. Where is AI when you need it?
Yeah, honestly.
Find me that script I almost worked on 3 years ago, but now finished. Thank you. Add Autopilot device to Azure group. Kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. This one might be Intune scripts demo. Skip that one. My screen showing now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, this possibly.
Yep. That looks, that's definitely the commandlet. New -mg group member. Yep. And you've got a whole list of them. I would say that's.
No, so yeah. This one I can share. Unless I haven't shared that one already. Let's see. We have some of these posted up already. Let's see what the name get device. Oh, that one was not there, but it is. It is now.
Well, thank you again. That's 2 today.
Well, every now and then, you know. And I'm just clicking through it, so I get that in my link history. All right, that will be the one. Beautiful.
All right. Jamie's asking, do you apply SafeOS updates for your WinPE images via ConfigMgr?
No, I haven't done it yet, but one of our customers did. And that they needed it for, it was not an update. It was a driver they added in. It prevented them from doing reset of the device because so unfortunately it was configured for RAID and they didn't have the RAID driver in WinRE. So when they did a reset, it blew up. So they had a script that mounted the recovery image. There is an option for the agent .exe file to do that, and then they patched it and then they closed it again. But I have seen, there was one Windows update that actually patched that media or WinRE as part of the process. But I haven't applied myself, I think, a CU to it from ConfigMgr. I know that OSD Builder does it. When you use OSD Builder to update media, there's an actually does it by default, but if you do not say to skip updates for PE, it will actually patch WinRE. So maybe you can borrow some things from that script or those scripts and use in your from ConfigMgr. That will be a good start, I think.
All right, great tip. So he's asking how we can upgrade the Cisco Secure Client version through Intune. Or new name for AnyConnect, basically.
Either you create the app yourself and supersede the old version, or you use Patch My PC or something to update it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's in there. The AnyConnect was.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
You do. I think that's one of the special applications that you have to provide the content yourself.
Yep.
But it is there. On top of that, of course, this doesn't help until your users connect to the VPN. But the most common way I have personally seen that client updated is simply through the firewall itself. As soon as you connect to the VPN, it'll download the new version, and away you go. But all of those options are I think available.
I need a new license. There we go.
Let me see if I can get to
Well,
mine here. Did you choose the correct config manager site? Is the real question.
I only have it on one of mine.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But yeah, I need to ask for a new license. Jordan,
Yeah.
where are you?
Let's see if I can connect to mine right now. Close that. Patch my PC. You can share my screen if you'd like, Johan.
Yes, sir. When I find that window, I will.
There we go. So scroll down here. Yeah, I don't have it in this lab, just because I don't have a need for it here. But there it is. So it should be there as an application. And let's see if it's in there as an update as well. Yep. As well as some of the additional modules you can use for that client. But yeah, if in the absence of Patch My PC, I think the other two options are the ones that I have seen most commonly. Johan, like you recommended, superseding the previous version of it.
I don't think the Enterprise App Catalog has it, simply because it requires media from the vendor.
Hmm.
I can check real quick. No, Microsoft do not have that in their app catalog.
Okay.
Or the Enterprise App Catalog. It doesn't exist. I can share my screen real quick and show. So this one here that does not have the secure client. And I'm assuming, again, it's from the fact that you need to have the media.
Yeah. So new app, supersedence, Patch My PC, or through the firewall itself, which you could do in combination.
Yep.
All right.
I just got a lovely email, by the way,
Oh, yeah?
while we were speaking. Not yet. I was hoping it would show up. So if I try the link directly. Yeah. We have a new Windows 11 Setup Internals class coming up.
Ooh.
4 days of behind the scenes stuff. I'm looking forward to that one.
That is exciting. I
Yeah.
may have to borrow the link for that and pop in once or twice that week.
I think we can allow that.
All right.
That's reasonable.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, that was the
right.
sidebar. I was looking for the email for the license.
Glenn's got a question here around ARM64 devices. They're going to start having some of them in their environment here over the springtime. Has much changed for OSD with ARM devices in the 2409 CM release versus what you have in your blog post from back in May? I don't remember too many changes around ARM in 2409.
Few things. There was a
BitLocker support.
BitLocker, yeah, software metering, and something else.
Let's see.
But the core OSD stuff was added in 2403.
Yeah.
And you absolutely must have the latest ADK or a boot image from the latest ADK. You don't need to be on that version on the provider, but you need to have added that boot image in. Otherwise, there will be nothing deployed. I did have a post at some point when it came. Yeah, this one here from last year. Just a step-by-step guide on what you need. Don't use that version. Use something later. I should probably update this blog post to say that.
Yeah, and it looks like that BitLocker. It's not just general BitLocker support; it's the actual task sequence steps for BitLocker.
Yeah.
So that would be a difference.
All right. It's funny. I've seen more and more organizations starting to test out ARM devices.
You know, just in my little bit of using my MacBook the last couple of months, the speed and the amount of battery that I can get out of that as an ARM device is unmatched in anything I've used in recent years. It's incredible. The battery life for sure. Speed, all right. Maybe I've used a few more powerful things, but just a comment here from Jamie too. I haven't seen many WinPE drivers for ARM64. Only full driver packs for each ARM model.
I was just chatting with Niehaus about that the other day. One of the vendors provided a WinPE package for ARM. Do I remember which vendor that was? No. But only 3 to pick from. Apparently, Dell has a new ARM driver page. So maybe you see if the Dell drivers happen to work with whatever you're trying to boot from. Otherwise, you have to snatch it from a system that is up and running. And that can be interesting. Because it's usually the chipset drivers that is the problem. And it's not one of them, like 17 of them. The Qualcomm, whatever.
Yeah, so I think I found the same blog post that you had up there, and it does take you to a page that looks like a driver pack for the just the OS, but that driver pack does have the chipset driver in it and everything. But it's also got camera, audio, video, all that.
Okay. All right.
Oh, it's with ARM though. It's such a small driver pack. It's under 500 megabytes.
Oh yeah, that's good. Double the size of the boot image.
Compared to your regular OS driver packs too now are, whew. large.
Yeah, but this was a good read. I don't remember seeing this one before. All right, cool.
Awesome. All right. Imran is asking, when you have BitLocker on Azure, how can we get a prompt for the user to encrypt the hard disk with a PIN? On-prem, we have MBAM, and it prompts the user to put in a PIN when it starts to encrypt. So presumably talking about Intune here, should be able to do that with the BitLocker policies in Intune, I would think. I don't normally deal with the BitLocker PIN.
You have something on your screen you wanted to share, or are you still looking?
I'm still looking. The only PIN that I'm typically working with is a Windows Hello for Business PIN. But we can check. You can pop up my screen, Johan. I don't know that it's going to give us an answer, but under endpoint security, disk encryption, then we get our BitLocker policies here, where we can require BitLocker encryption and everything. This is one of the places that we can configure it. So here's PIN on startup. Maybe in here or in the settings catalog. I mean, if you're doing a full cloud native management, these are really the only two places within Intune that you would configure that. So, didn't mean to zoom. So here are some of the settings in the endpoint security policies related to BitLocker.
I saw someone writing a script that allowed you to change the PIN code. Doesn't show how they displayed it though.
Let's see, Windows 10, settings catalog. Search for PIN here. Office settings. Yeah, so here, some of the same type of settings over here on the settings catalog side of things. So you can configure the startup PIN. So, Imran, I'm not sure if that fully answers the question, but those are the two places that I would configure this on the Intune side of things.
Yeah, it's the prompting that is missing, I think.
Just a follow up on drivers here from Jamie. Seen the existing PE drivers missing the controller for laptop touchpads and have had to inject that in separately. ConfigMgr is just filtering on storage and network drivers typically.
There is an option to skip that, I think. Let's see what I have here. I have a... I mean, you can always dism them in, but yeah. Let me share my screen. So this is a 24/9 config manager. If I import a driver here for boot images and go to folder where I have some ARM devices, in this case, I pick just one of the Qualcomm drivers. It's going to take a week if I pick the entire folder. So selecting just one of the folders. And you have the option there to hide drivers that are not in storage for boot images. But if you don't do that, it will show up even though it's a system class driver. So that should work just fine. Or I did it for this one, so. And this was one of the earliest models there were for ARM from Lenovo. There are better ones out there now. I even saw
Awesome.
that HP is releasing a desktop with ARM.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it like a small form factor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
looking forward to that.
Amir's got a question here about web sign-in with Windows 11 24 H2. They've got a couple of tickets open, but no resolution provided yet. This issue is disrupting Autopilot when technicians are using temporary access passes to prepare devices for users. Started working on the latest 24H2 build, but only for some models. Unfortunately, that doesn't help if the device is shipping with an older build from the manufacturer. Works properly on VMs, which wasn't the case before. It doesn't provide much value in this case. It just makes it harder to reproduce. Yeah. I haven't. I know, Amir, you've been working with the web sign-in piece for a while here, and I did come across a post that was kind of saying the same thing. I know that there were some issues with it a while back, and now maybe in December, I think they fixed it, but I have not come across. I'm not typically haven't been working with that too much, so I haven't come across anything. Definitely one of the drawbacks, I would say, to getting images from the manufacturer is exactly what you're experiencing. It's typically not fully up to date, right? But Johan, I don't know, have you come across that at all?
Not that particular issue, but getting the wrong image deployed or coming with the machine, yes.
Yeah.
Either very old, patch level, or just downright the wrong version altogether. So, unfortunately, we don't have any fix for that, but obviously it's a known issue. Microsoft is starting to fix some of it,
Yeah.
but I don't have any more details. Sorry about that.
Well, and with that,
yeah, we're up on time. Whoa, that hour flew by quickly.
yeah, I'll say.
See if we can get the screen away. Here we go. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Andrew, and everyone. Stay safe out there, and we hope to see you next week. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great one.